My favourite club at the moment. Despite a letter and a telephone call, there wasn't a ticket for me here. But after an hour's delay, they've let me in after the kick-off, but by all accounts I haven't missed much. In last week's opening matches of the championships, Torino lost 3-2 at home to Sampdoria, and newly promoted Lazio won a point at Cesena with a goalless draw. I've seen both sides in the Italian Cup. Torino looked lightweight against Verona, and Lazio won at Udine with a single goal from Sosa and qualified for the last 8. You're due to join me for the goals, and although these games between these two sides often finish 0-0, both defences already look suspect, so we could have goals here in the Stadio Olympia. This is David Willacy for Radio Bedfordshire Sport and Mondo Italiano, Rome. Here in the Stadio Olympia in Rome, but it's one which we didn't expect, and one which certainly wasn't deserved. In the 38th minute of the game, Edu, playing his first game of the season for Torino, had done absolutely nothing until he took a free kick some 35 yards out. It took a cruel deflection off the four-man wall, leaving the experienced Martini on the floor and having no chance at all. Lazio have done most of the attacking, and their midfield player Pin has twice gone close. But that's how it goes. So the score is Lazio 0, Torino 1. Welcome back to the Stadio Olympia here in Rome. Lazio supporters will be absolutely delighted to know that the second goal was theirs, a most thoroughly deserved equaliser that came right on the stroke of half-time. In the 7 minutes since Torino took an undeserved lead from that free kick from Edu, Lazio have done most of the attacking, and they've had 3 shots blocked. The last of these from De Zotti went for a corner. That was taken over on the left. Centre half Gugucci came up more or less unmarked in the 6-yard box and placed a powerful header to the left of the goalkeeper. In his delight, he jumped over the photographers, made straight for the south curve, only to find, of course, that there's nothing there but concrete and a few earthworks. No spectators at all, so he had to turn round and get his applause from the North Bank, where there are about 8,000 Lazio supporters, absolutely delighted with that goal. It's a goal that they deserved. It came right on the stroke of half-time. The score, Lazio 1, Torino 1. It's David Willacy for Radio Bedfordshire Sport and Mondo Italiano in Stadio Olympia, Roma. After 2 championship matches in Serie A, Milan, Internazionale and Sampdoria remain unbeaten. Napoli, who hoped to be up there with them, lost 1-0 to newly promoted Lecce, whose goal was a fine diving header from defender Baroni. Milan simply overran Pescara, and Pisa, away to Internazionale, made the mistake of scoring the first goal. Internazionale wakened up and hit 4. Fiorentina scored all 3 goals in their 2-1 win over Ascoli. Battistini scoring an own goal, but Ascoli simply couldn't get an equaliser and remained pointless along with Pisa and Como. 2 South Americans made the headlines in Atlanta. The Brazilian Ever scored in the 2-2 draw with Verona, whose fast left-sided Argentinian Caniggia was sent off for arguing with referee Paparezza from Bari. My Goal of the Day award goes to Zavarov, who hit a blinding left-foot drive to open the scoring for Juventus at Cesena. But Cremona was the place to be for goals in Series B, where Cremonese took a 2-1 lead over Udinese in the first 7 minutes, but then lost 3-2. Parma and Avellino joined Genoa at the top on 8 points from 6 matches. It's going to be tight. For example, Regina are in the bottom half of the league, but are only 1 point behind the leaders. Here in Roma, Lazio are not my favourite club. They didn't let me into the Stadio Olympia until after the game had started, but by all accounts I didn't miss much. Both goals in a poor 1-1 draw came near the end of the first half, Torino scoring first with a goal which was unexpected and undeserved. The Brazilian Edu, making his first appearance of the season, hit a 30-yard free kick which was deflected by Lazio's defensive wall to leave the experienced goalkeeper Martinez stranded. The Eagles responded with a series of shots from Pin, De Zotta and Sclosa, all of which were blocked by a packed Torino defence. But right on half-time and from a corner on the left, the bearded centre-half Gregucci powerfully headed an equaliser. He leapt over the photographers to celebrate with the Curva Sud, but sadly for him it no longer exists, so he had to turn round and run to the other end to receive a standing ovation from the Lazio fans packed in the north end. The second half would be easily forgotten, except that it contained all that's bad in professional football, with the lively Torino captain Crevero being both victim and villain. First he was hacked down when dribbling through the Lazio defence, and then he held back Sosa, who for the only time in the match looked likely to score. With the exception of the Uruguayan Guterres, the other South Americans looked like expensive luxuries. It was a poor game. The critics expected a goalless draw, and to be honest it felt like one. But after their home defeat by Sampdoria last week, Torino were happiest with the result. I wasn't happy at all. By tea time the trains were victims of yet another lightning strike, and getting home was just as difficult as getting into the Stadio Olimpico. David Willacy for Mondo Italiano, Roma.